We begin with the diplomatic attempts to head off a military strike on Iran's nuclear program. Teams from the U.S. and Iran set to meet for the first time in direct negotiations. They met actually on Saturday, with more talks set this weekend, reportedly in Rome. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, the outcome of these talks may shift the future of the Middle East.
Little was publicized in Oman from the first negotiations between the Iranians and the Trump administration on Iran's potential nuclear weapons. But more talks will be held Saturday, and both sides tried to sound upbeat.
Nothing matters until you get it done, so I don't like talking about it, but it's going okay. The Iran situation's going pretty good.
As the first session, it was a constructive meeting. It took place in a calm and very respectful environment.
The greatest fear for many Israelis is the Iranian regime will drag these talks out as it actually finishes developing nuclear weapons and then has the ability to destroy Israel. And some worry, it appears, the Iranian negotiators are already trying to stall.
The American side said their aim is to reach an agreement in the shortest possible time. But of course, this won't be easy. It's still too early to talk about that.
Trump may not be willing to put up with any stalling. He told reporters on Sunday,
"We'll be making a decision on Iran very quickly."
In Gaza, Israeli forces continue ever more fierce attacks on Hamas. They're capturing more land, in one case totally cutting off Hamas stronghold Rafah from the rest of Gaza. Israel's defense minister warned Gazans over the weekend the only way to stop the destruction is for them to end it themselves. Israel Katz stated, "It is time to stand up and remove Hamas and release all the Israeli hostages. This is the only way to end the war." The Jewish state has declared until Hamas frees all the hostages, Israel will continue to take more and more of Gaza and turn the captured land into vast buffer zones.
Many areas are being seized and added to the security zones of the State of Israel, leaving Gaza smaller and isolated.
This hurts Hamas because one of the greatest catastrophes for Islamists is to lose land to non-Muslims. Some Gazans gathered in church to mark Palm Sunday, despite their suffering as the war grinds on.
The situation has gotten out of hand. Our situation is unbearable. The situation is tragic.
Thousands also marked Palm Sunday in Jerusalem, marching with palm fronds along the path they believe Jesus rode on in his final entry into Jerusalem before his crucifixion and resurrection.
It's really nice to have such a joyful day because sometimes it can be a bit heavy to live here with everything that's going on.
I hope everyone around the world could join us here in Jerusalem for the procession. I wish that the war will stop soon and everything will come back to normal.
Chris joins me now from Jerusalem. Chris, you mentioned in your report there's growing concern Iran will try to drag out the talks. It's so interesting because there's word that I caught from President Trump's comment there on Air Force One is that he wants a resolution quickly. Is that the sense from Israel there?
Exactly, George. I think there's a sense that I would believe some people over here think, why the talks at all? They've been talking for, about 20 years about Iran's nuclear facilities, and yet they keep building them. They keep advancing enriched uranium on their way to a nuclear bomb. So there's a big hope here, particularly at Passover here, George. If you go to the Passover Seder, there's a saying, in every generation, someone rises up to kill us. But the Holy One, blessed be he delivers us. So Israelis certainly see the Islamic Republic as one of those in this generation designed to kill the Jewish people and destroy the modern state of Israel. So they do see the Trump administration as allies to hopefully beat back the Islamic Republic. But the main concern, I would think, is that these talks are delaying things. Right now, we're here in Oman, as you said, reportedly next Saturday in Rome. But all the while Iran can continue to pursue its nuclear weapons. The Iranians, their masses at negotiations. So Israelis wonder how long are these negotiations are going to continue, what's the goal, and what happens if they fail. Optimism with the statement there by President Trump on Air Force One that there is a limit to what he's going to wait on these talks.
I'm curious, we have been talking here on CBN News a very long time about the possibility of Israel going after Iran's nuclear program, with Hezbollah pretty much, dismantled, Hamas on its back foot, the Houthis, Syria is out of the equation. Is it your opinion that this looks like the best time for that to happen today?
I think it's the best time ever for Israel. As you said, this whole ring of fire you basically talked about, Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, they are sort of the guarantor that if Israel ever attacked Iran's nuclear facilities, then Iran was going to unleash all these proxy armies surrounding Israel. But now that Hezbollah is a shadow of what it was, same thing with Hamas, and now the Houthis are getting beat quite badly by a U.S. air campaign. This has to be the best time, as well as last year, George. You know that the air defenses of Iran weren't quite decimated, but damaged significantly by Israel's strike. Also, the air defenses inside Syria. So militarily, it looks like just the best time that Israel and possibly the U.S. can strike Iran's nuclear facilities.
Yeah, those air defenses, both in Damascus as well as in Tehran, they were, delivered by the Russians. So the fact that the Israelis were able to penetrate those air defenses is quite significant. Let's talk about Israel's ongoing war with Hamas. How important is it for Israel to cut off Hamas's stronghold in Rafah from the rest of Gaza?
Well, it's very important, George, and it's part of their new policy where they're just taking land and holding it. Right now, it's estimated they control about 30% of the Gaza Strip and on their way to maybe 50%. So they're setting up these security zones. As you say, they're cutting off Rafah from the rest of Gaza. They're also having a corridor. They call it the remarked corridor, and that's cutting off, from east to west, or north to south, the Gaza Strip. So it's very, very important what they're doing and really squeezing Hamas like it hasn't been in about a year and a half, all in an attempt to not only destroy Hamas militarily, but also free the hostages.
Chris, we've heard reports in the last few weeks about the influence of Hamas on major media. What have you learned?
Well, I was going to ask you, George, what have you learned? You were the one who was reporting inside Gaza, I believe, 2019. You saw it firsthand. What's coming out of Gaza is already filtered through the Hamas Ministry of Information, Ministry of Health. Nothing really gets out of Gaza unless without the Hamas permission. So much of the reporting we get in some Western media, like the BBC, for example, that it really gets filtered through journalists who are affiliated with Hamas and this really skews what sometimes gets out of Gaza. But I was referring to you. You were there, and you were able to actually, you saw firsthand how Hamas tries to restrict news getting out of Gaza.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, if you say anything negative against the military operations, if you say anything against Hamas, you are in big trouble. You will get a knock from the intelligence services. They're not a good situation. Chris, let's end on a hopeful note here. Obviously, the celebration of the resurrection of Jesus for Christians there in the Holy Land, very, very important. We saw pictures of folks celebrating Palm Sunday.
Heart of the Christian faith, celebrating Palm Sunday, 1 week before Jesus was crucified, buried, and then rose again. The heart of our faith, George. We saw that firsthand on the Mount of Olives. And also, just to let you know, you can watch that on YouTube. I was there on YouTube. We're going to have devotions every day in a different location here in Jerusalem, tracing the steps of Jesus from Palm Sunday all the way to Easter morning. You can see that on YouTube and Facebook.
Fantastic. Chris, as always, thank you so much. Appreciate your insights. Stay safe. And many people all around the world are praying for you and your staff there in Israel.